Welcome to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela K, and this is part 2 of the series where I'm analyzing the press conferences in the Delphi case. That it would be the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, an unsolved case for almost 5 years. They were murdered on February 13th, 2017. If you want to see more of the timeline or map time, that is available on the playlist that I've got on this channel for this case. So please go and check that out. I'll link it below. I'll link it above. I'll link it wherever we need to. Please also note, this is a previously recorded, right, episode, meaning I'm recording this now and setting it as a premiere. So it's got live chat embedded where I can chat with you, but I am not live. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so let's get started. I just want to make sure that the sound over here, I hope it's good. If not, I'll boost it a little bit, because sometimes you guys ask me to please just boost the sound of the press conferences. So I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. They've got the tip line there. I mean, again, I'm not trying to throw this dude under the bus at all. Wait, doesn't he just... he looks like Bridge Guy. But anyway, interesting. It's just interesting. We'll just be like, And remember that video that we saw where he said that he was actually initially a suspect in the investigation. So I shall put myself here somewhere. And this, in case you don't know what I'm doing, I am observing and analyzing all the press conferences chronologically. So we started with the very first one when they found the bodies of Abby and Libby and they made a little press statement. That's what we did in part 1. This is part 2. So you can see this is from the 22nd of February 2017. Okay, so let's do that.
Okay, good morning. On behalf of Sheriff Tove Lisby of the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, who is the lead agency in this investigation, Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, I would like to welcome you to Delphi, Indiana and Carroll County. If you would allow me a little bit of latitude here before we get into the meat and potatoes of the press conference to give a couple of thank yous, I would like to do that now. We volunteer because we care. Again, we volunteer because we care. I saw that on a fire truck here in Delphi, Indiana yesterday. And I believe it's a way of life here in Delphi in the Carroll County community. Because the way this community has wrapped their arms around this investigation and provided not just resources for officers as they're investigating this case, but also their willingness to give us information and anything that we have asked, including this church today for the press conference that Pastor Todd has given us. And of course, we want to thank the Delphi United Methodist Church for this facility today. Again, I would like to thank everyone who's given donations and any general support to this investigation. I would also like to thank in advance the person who's going to call our tip line and give us that tidbit of information that's going to lead to the arrest.
See, that's what they want. One piece of the puzzle is what they say. One piece. And they need someone from the community to come forward and give them that information so that they can make that arrest. It's so interesting that that's all they need. That's what they say. We need someone from the community to say, hey, this is my brother. Or, this is my dad. This is my uncle. Interesting, right? Okay.
Of the murderers are Liberty German and Abigail Williams. And I would like to thank the media for their patience. I understand there's information that you would like to get to your subscribers, get out into the media. But as you know, we have information that is germane to our investigation that we have to keep close to the vest, because this investigation is too important to make any mistakes and give out the wrong information. So again, I thank you for your support and your patience as we go through this case. There are a couple acknowledgments I must introduce today, a couple of folks, department heads that are here. We have Delphi.
It's just interesting how he says to all your subscribers, because that would imply social media, right? It's not generally, I mean, it could be, obviously, the news. I mean, hello, WFLA. JHJB, remember all that? They've got subscribers and they're on YouTube and they're also on other platforms. But like, if he's like getting it out there to your subscribers, man, if you're already saying subscribers and getting it out there into the media, I wish they could have appealed to the media for Anthony Shots information or other witnesses, coming forward. I don't know, just appeal to people in the media and on social media to come forward. Because if there's now saying anyone that's been in contact with the Anthony Shots profile, come forward now, people are going to have to jog their memory. This is almost 5 years later. You know what I mean?
Mayor Shane Evans, Carroll County Prosecutor Rob Ives, Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lesenby, Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen, Indiana State Police Superintendent.
I just want to show you this eye roll here quick.
Your subscribers get out into the media. Investigation is too important to make any mistakes and give out the wrong information. So again, I thank you.
Okay, so as he gives the shout outs, just notice again, I'm not implying that this is the killer. I'm just saying it's just interesting to watch. I'm watching this guy, and when they say Tobe Lesenby, he does such a weird thing. Like, watch him.
For your support and your patience as we go through this case. There are a couple acknowledgments I must introduce today, a couple of folks, department heads that are here. We have Delphi Mayor Shane Evans.
Okay, so I'm just watching this guy behind here, right? So he like rolled his eye and then nodded.
Carroll County Prosecutor Rob Ives.
Takes a look.
Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lesenby.
He gives a glance and then
Delphi Police Chief.
very interesting.
Chief Steve Mullen. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter. FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge Greg Massa. And Captain Dave Burston, Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police. Obviously, the reason we are here today is to give out information in the double homicide of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. On February 13th, Abigail Williams, 13, and Liberty German, 14, went on a hike at the Delphi Historic Trails.
On a random off day from school because they didn't have enough snow days. That's what they said. They didn't have as many snow days as expected, so ta-da, they're going to give the kids a surprise day off. Interesting.
On February 13th, they were reported missing later in the afternoon when they failed to return to a pickup location as a family member returned to pick them up from their hike. After organized searches on February 14th, one of those search parties unfortunately found the bodies of the two teens.
One of those search parties. Okay. Also, if you're not quite aware of the timeline, at 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a picture of Abby on the bridge around platform 3, somewhere in the middle of the bridge, to a Snapchat. At 2:05, she took a picture of the bridge, and at 2:07, she posted a picture of Abby. So to think that between 2:07 and when Libby's dad, Derek, was going to pick them up, which he was there around 3:15, that wasn't a huge hike. They really wanted to just... It wasn't like they planned like a 2 or 3 hour hangout at this place. You know what I mean? They went out there, dropped off, and they maybe thought of having 90 minutes there or so, from what I gather, if you think about it, from when they were dropped off to when they were going to be picked up, which would be 3:15. So even if we say 1:45, well, 2:45, 3:15, it's an hour and a half, 90 minutes. that makes me wonder if they weren't really just going out there for geocache collections, because geocache is like these, something I've just learned about. I didn't know about geocache. It's like these little treasure boxes that are set up all over the world, but they have them in Delphi too. And Libby's sister Kelsey said that they often went out there to go and collect some geocache, which means finding them using an app and then opening them to see what's inside. And maybe they were there to do that. You know what I mean? So I know some of you have speculated as well, what if this is all connected to someone who even set up the geocache? Do you know what I mean? That's interesting too. But just the amount of time, it's not like, yay, we're going on a picnic and a hike, like give us 3 hours or 4 hours. It's like 90 minutes. So it was really like going there also for Abby to cross the bridge, allegedly for the first time. She'd been to this area before, but hadn't crossed the bridge. So it's like going out there on a mission. That's what I feel like. These girls were on a mission. So whether that was to meet someone, collect geocache, or take photos of Abby crossing the bridge and actually have her do that. It's interesting, right?
Evidence in this case has led investigators to believe this is a double homicide, and that's what we're investigating at this time. Also shown in front of me is an enlarged depiction of a person believed to be the suspect in this case. We are actively looking for this person. We believe this person is our suspect, and we would like any information, regardless of how small or minute you might believe that information to be. It might be the one piece of a very large puzzle that helps us get this person in custody.
See, even here he said one piece of a very large puzzle. And still in 2019 and today, they say this is a very complicated, very large. They always use those words like large, complicated. Interesting. You know, it seems actually pretty simple if you have the audio of the guy, the video of the guy, multiple witnesses that came forward to describe the guy, someone dressed like that. There's actually one witness that I read, and this is again speculation time from Reddit, who described what he was wearing. And yes, they said that white bit here was actually like a face mask. She described everything about him before they even released the photo or the video. So there were multiple witnesses. In this case, you'll hear people say flannel shirt guy. You'll hear people say all kinds of, they say FSG for flannel shirt guy, BG's bridge guy. We'll get the lingo. By the time you're done following this case with me, you'll know all the lingo too. So I stand corrected, but I believe flannel shirt guy is Ron Logan, the guy who owns the property where the girls' bodies were found. So flannel shirt guy was out on a walk that day and is one of the witnesses that may have seen bridge guy. There's a few people that were walking their dogs, that were out in the area. There's other witnesses. Initially, when I stumbled on this case, I thought, okay, there were like 2 witnesses. But no, there were quite a few from what I read. And they helped to make the sketches possible by describing what they saw, where they saw him, how they saw him. That's another interesting deep dive, which we can look at. I think I should work through this video, and then we can just look at those articles of how the drawings came about. And then, unless you want me to go to that now. I'm always thinking out loud, even though this is pre-recorded, you know what I mean? Let's just carry on with this, and then we'll look at that, okay?
So please call our tip line, 844-459-5786.
Interesting that now they have a different tip line as well. Right now, they've changed the number ever so slightly. And I'm like, that's weird. It's like new sketch, new tip line.
And again, I would like, as we go through this press conference, to remind the media there's going to be information that is germane to our investigation that we're not going to release today. But at the end of the press conference, we will have time for question and answers. So
not today, and not in 4 years either, because here we are at the end of 2021. When the clock turns February 2022, it's 5 years of this case being unsolved.
as we go through our speakers, I ask you to please hold your questions to the end of the press conference. So at this time, I would like to invite Indiana State Police Superintendent Douglas Carter to the podium.
Hold on. Grizzlies love Daniel Robinson, am I right? If you want to pick yourself up a tumbler, a sweatshirt, a cap, there's a bucket hat, a backpack, anything in this range, all proceeds from the Please Help Find Daniel from the Grizzlies Love Daniel Robinson range are going to be donated directly to David Robinson to help in his search for his son. So that is still running, and I don't know when you're watching this, but before Christmas, if you type in the code Grizzly10, you will get 10% discount on all your orders. So there we go. Now, this man is very interesting to me. Very interesting the way he talks. But let's see what he's got to say.
Words tend to escape during these periods of times, and I've only had a couple of other situations in my lifetime where I'm able to stand before you and say that. Why Libby? Why Abby? Why Delphi? Why Carroll County? Why the region? Why the state? Why even in the nation? I say that because this is a classic example and a clear example that evil lives amongst us.
He's got very accentuated body language. I'm no body language expert, but I'm like, I know some of you have also commented like, this guy gives me red flags, right? Just a little bit. I mean, in all my deep diving, there has been a time where I'm like, oh my word, it's him. I mean, he looks awfully a lot like the sketch too, if you compare the new sketch to him, but I'm not saying it's him. We're just speculating. We're just watching at this point. We're watching and like, interesting. So I'm not trying to attack law enforcement. Damn, did I forget my disclaimer in this episode? I sure did. Disclaimer. Are you ready? You got to say it with me. All Grizzly true crime content is for adults only and may contain themes that some individuals find triggering, offensive, or disturbing. The intent is not to disrespect viewers or any individuals spoken about herein. Viewer discretion is advised. I should really add to that disclaimer and say if we are talking about killers like allegedly Melon Boy, then unfortunately it's not the most respectful things we'll say. You remember like we've got all kinds of ones like Chris Watts being like baby boy. Remember? So anyway, the disclaimer is for you. I'm not trying to offend you, and I'm not trying to disrespect anyone in general. We just keep a very close eye, and we keep our snark on, just so that we can maybe look with a fresh pair of snarky eyes and say things that maybe other people haven't said yet. You know what I mean? Just to be like, interesting, just in case.
To the family, to the community, the region, the state, as a leader of the Indiana State Police, I say I am so very sorry. Resources. It's unlikely that any of you will ever see, nor will we ever see or experience again, the level of resources that are attached to this investigation.
Again, how do you know that? Because remember, Tobe Lesenby said that, he believes this is an isolated incident. And here again, he says, this is now Doug Clark, but saying, we'll never see this amount of resources again. How do you know that? If you were dealing with a serial killer, you wouldn't really say that. But the fact that you're saying that, I'm like, how do you know that this person wouldn't do this again in Delphi? Interesting.
To the media, my gosh, all I can say is to give you my sincere thanks. See, this isn't like TV. There's a perception that this can be solved very quickly. Anything that we do can be solved very quickly, but this is a testament that it can't, and we need you. We've needed you since last week. We need you today, and we need you tomorrow. and likely will need the media all across this nation.
All across this nation, are you implying that it's allegedly? I'm just saying, you know that we speculated before. Is this a trucker? Is he traveling across the country and doing this? Should we be looking into other teenage girls of double homicides? Very interesting. There's also the unsolved case of the Flora girls. If you haven't seen that episode, please go check it out. I will link it as well. I should actually add that to my playlist of the Delphi case in general, because it could be linked. It's just very close to Delphi. And my initial gut instinct thought was, if this is a serial killer, they're doing a countdown. So 4 Flora girls. I don't know where there were 3. But 2, Abby and Libby. And then maybe there could be 1 at a later stage. And it's around that sort of area. I have looked at that, is it called the Everard case? There was also 2. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if it's connected or not. I mean, initially they said it could be. And then they're like, no, it's an isolated incident. But one has to wonder. We have to look broader. I mean, the superintendent over here is saying it could be a nationwide thing. He said nationwide twice now. So I find that interesting.
So from a simple guy like me to you, I say thank you. To the people dressed funny like me and those that represent the law enforcement profession.
I'm going to nitpick every single sentence. To the people dressed funny like me. This guy's not impressed with that statement. To the people dressed funny like me. I mean, you sound like John Wayne Gacy when you say that. You're not dressed funny. You're dressed professionally. You're a police officer. I know what he means, but weird statement. I'm just going to be like, dressed funny like me? You don't dress funny.
Please understand we're human beings just like you. I'd stand anywhere in the nation with people standing behind me. And I would suggest to you that every time something like this happens, a little piece of us dies as well.
Okay, I could believe that. When he says we are just human beings too, yeah, human beings with a lot of responsibility. I was an airline pilot for 9 years, and I could say, I'm just a human being just like you. There were a lot of passengers because I was a young pilot. I was already flying around when I was 21 years old. And people used to come up to me all the time and say, aren't you scared? And I'd have to say, no, not at all. But like flying in thunderstorms, of course I'm scared. I mean, it's kind of like, whoa, like it's a bit hectic, you know, it's like an adrenaline rush, but like it's pretty scary. Flying in rain at night, landing on a narrow runway. Yeah, it can be scary. But do you tell the passengers that? No, you don't say, I'm a human being just like you. No, you have to comfort people. So I'm not I'm not trying to critique him too harsh, but like, yeah, you're a human being just like everyone else. I get it. But you have a lot of responsibility. That's all I'm going to say.
But I also want you to understand how committed we are as a collective one. As a collective one, and we will continue. This has been briefed all the way up to the director of the FBI, Director Comey, and Greg Mass is going to talk a little bit about that. I've had an opportunity to speak to my boss, Governor Eric Holcomb, a couple different times about this situation, and every time I do, I see this look that comes over his face, just like yours in this community's. And that's the unfortunate experience of experiencing evil. We're not stopping. The poster in front of you. Someone knows who this individual is. Someone knows who this individual is.
Bear in mind, this was the first sketch that they released. Do you remember that sketch, guys? Oh, I'll find it for you. Hold on. This is the sketch that they first released, and this is how confidently they're saying that someone knows who this is. This is the killer. But like 2 years later, because this is in 2017, they're like, Nah, that's secondary now. It's someone else.
Individual is. Is it a family member? Is it a neighbor? Is it an acquaintance? Is it an associate? Or maybe that one guy that lives over at that one place that just kind of not right. Maybe it's his jeans. Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt. Maybe it's his shirt
Okay.
tail. Maybe it's his posture. Maybe it's the right hand.
We have to listen to that again.
Maybe it's his jeans.
Do you mean, I know he means jeans, like blue jeans. But the way he says it, maybe it's his jeans. I don't know. Look at this guy looking at him. Look at this guy looking at him. Maybe it's his jeans. DNA. But I think he means blue jeans. But anyway, interesting.
Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt.
Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt. I'm just looking at all these guys in the background. This guy, what's he doing over here? Look at this guy. He's like,
Maybe it's his shirt tail.
maybe it's his shirt tail. So maybe that bit of brown we saw sticking out, which we call a moon bag in South Africa, or a fanny pack. And in Australia, you guys call it a bum bag. Could we come up with a universal name for this thing? Hey, I got one in my merch range if you want it, okay? I think there's one in the Let It Be range. Yes. I think there's a few fanny packs for sale in my merch range. So what should we call it? Anyway, but he says maybe it's his shirt tail. Interesting. Interesting details.
Maybe it's his posture. Maybe it's the right hand in his pocket.
Always putting the right hand in the pocket. The other one was also sort of not... When Mr. Grizzly looked at it, he said it might be in that tiny little pocket. I wish you guys... Mr. Grizzly does not want to be on camera, but his impression of Bridge Guy is classic because he was simulating how he would walk and where he would be putting his hands. It's so funny.
You see, even with technology, we need human intelligence. In other words, we need you.
Disclaimer. The case isn't funny. True crime isn't funny. The murder's not funny. But what's funny is Mr. Grizzly doing an impression of Bridge Guy when he isn't even a true crimer. But then I rope him into a conversation. I make him look at the Bridge Guy video and I say, what do you think? And then he has to walk it out and simulate it so he can feel what it feels like to be that guy.
I'm not suggesting that science, that everything that we can do as science has been done, because we are just getting started.
You know what's a damn shame is they said the same thing in 2019. We're just getting started. Like, now, on the 22nd of February 2017, that's an appropriate thing to say. But oh my word, in 2019 to say we're just getting started, no.
Abby and Libby deserve us. They deserve every single one of us, and not just the people standing up here on the stage that have given so much of their lives to not just this, but to this profession, but each and every one of you. Each and every person listening, watching, or seeing this in some form, we need you. Libby and Abby need you. Please do not rationalize tips away. Rationalize what you think that might not be important away.
So you mean I should call and I should say that I think it could be someone at the school or in law enforcement? Should I call from the Netherlands and say that? Because I would rationalize that away and say, I'm in the Netherlands, I'm South African, and I'm sure you've looked into that, right? Have you though? I hope so.
By thinking he would never do that to another human being. Or think what I know doesn't matter. Let folks like the people that are standing behind me with such incredible passion and commitment and dedication to this profession make that determination. Tips are anonymous. Some might not want to talk about it because they don't want to get involved, because they know the individual. Again, he may be a family member, probably has a family.
Interesting. He's very confident in saying that he probably is family. And who are you looking at when you say that, dude?
No one will ever know. No one will ever know. There's not an agency on the planet better than helping us facilitate this than the FBI. And they're as entrenched in this as anybody. No one will know.
As Copfax Perry Freeman said, make sure you tell the community how you're going to protect them if they do come forward with this information. They do say the tips are anonymous, but even I wouldn't trust that. I'll be like, are they really though? I don't know. It feels scary. It feels scary even for me. Even if I were to phone in and say what I think, it feels scary. So I can't imagine living in Delphi. That would be so scary.
As poor.
Side note, it doesn't mean don't do it. I just think they should make it clear how they are going to protect the person who comes forward. They have said they will, but they got to make that very clear so the person can actually come forward.
As this picture is, somebody knows. And if you're watching,
he looks in the same direction. Who's there? I wish I could see the crowd right now. Look at him. If you're watching. Again, I'm watching this guy the whole time. Whoa, dude.
we'll find you. Who's next? I hate to ask you that question. I'd give my life to not have to.
The fact that Superintendent Doug Clark says, who's next? I hate to ask that question. But Tobe Lesenby says he believes it's an isolated incident. That is interesting in itself.
But I know you've asked yourself that very question. We must recognize it. You see, we're all the same. We're all human beings. We must keep our resolve for Libby and Abby, for this community, and frankly, to ensure that good trumps evil. And it will. You're going to hear more in just a minute about what we know. Do not discount the voice that you'll hear. We will stay committed with resolve very rarely exhibited with human behavior until this conclusion. Please be patient. Become our partners and communicate with us as often as you can.
This still applies today, 2021, 2022. If you know something, say something. If you're watching this, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be people from Delphi watching this. If you're watching this and you know, you got to say something. And not to me, not to Copfax, not to Anthony Greeno, whose videos have unfortunately been privated, it seems. Man, I really like those videos. I was only just getting into all of them. Anyway, and I don't know why. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I never, ever get caught up in any form of YouTube drama or YouTube scandal or, I don't know, politics. I don't do that. No. I've just seen his videos are down. I know he was quite the voice in this case. I really liked his reenactment videos because it puts you at the scene and you can see like where they would have walked and what, and you can really picture it and think, you know what I mean? So, yes. But if you know something, please do say something. All the tip line information and everything is available on all these sites, and I'm going to put it in the description box below, okay?
And now from a very humble servant, that's the most blessed guy on this planet to represent the profession that I represent, to Abby and Libby. It's my hope and my prayer that you're now experiencing God's promise of eternal peace.
He's very upset by this. I can see that. Yes. I'm just looking at the others right now. I'm still looking at this guy. This one's eyes are often closed. My goodness. Okay.
At this time, I would like to invite Greg Massa, Assistant Special Agent in charge for the FBI, to the podium.
Serious dude. He just hit the podium. FBI. Here we go.
Good morning. As the Assistant Special Agent in charge, my role is to supervise and lead the FBI's criminal investigations across the state of Indiana. 9 days ago, we had an agent that was participating in the search for the missing victims, and from that moment until this morning, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners here. The FBI plays an important support role in this investigation. This joint
I wonder who this guy is.
investigation. I'm very humbled by the response that the resources that are under my direction have brought, and hopefully the contributions that we are making. On any given day, we have 20 FBI agents that are here providing investigative help, whether that's running down leads, conducting interviews, helping with lead tracking system, providing intelligence analysis support.
Man, he makes me again. I just want to be part of the FBI. Luckily, we've got the GBI over here, Grizzly, Bureau of Investigations.
Providing technical assistance. Every night, I update our FBI headquarters to our Deputy Assistant Director, and as the Superintendent mentioned, this has been briefed to the FBI Director on 2 occasions. So whatever resource that the FBI has available, whether it's here in the state of Indiana or nationally, we have brought those resources. And
Or nationally. I'm just paying attention, that's all. Or nationally. Ah, so it's like a Ted Bundy of 2017, huh? Or what? What are we trying to say? But, yeah, or nationally. But I wonder if he still contacts his deputy every single night. Almost 5 years later.
and we will continue to do so. We were committed to working around the clock, as we have been over the last 9 days, and will continue to do so until this case is solved. To the members of the community, when I met with our behavioral analysis unit,
Like, who's this guy?
and in their expertise and their experience, it is oftentimes even unwitting that a member of the community may have information that is germane to this investigation. And I'd like the community to go back 9 days and go back to the afternoon of February 13th, Monday, February.
If you guys think, like, why is she pointing out law enforcement people the whole time? Have you seen some of the criminal records of some of this freaking places? Law enforcement officials? It's really scary. Indiana, like, damn, red flag. What are you guys up to there? What is going on? Whoa. To me, the worst so far is Buckeye Police Department from the Daniel Robinson case. Like, oh my word. But I must say, when they say this is a really good community, I don't know, I see a lot of criminal charges, criminal records of law enforcement agents in this area, including the former, and actually quite a few former, Carroll County sheriffs. That's interesting.
February 13th. And just think, if you had an interaction with an individual who inexplicably canceled an appointment that you had together, or an individual called into work sick and canceled an important appointment or a social engagement, and at the time gave what would have been a plausible explanation. My
Okay.
cell phone broke, or I had a flat tire on my car. But in retrospect, that excuse no longer holds water. That may be important. Likely so are behavioral indicators that this individual may have exhibited since the afternoon of May 13th? Did this individual travel unexpectedly? Did they change their appearance? Did they shave their beard, cut their hair, change the color of their hair? The superintendent mentioned the clothes that this.
I'm just watching this guy, and I'm just going to say it right now. I'm a YouTube channel. I'm allowed to watch this guy. Look at this face right here. Reddish brown hair. Did he shave his hair? Huh? Who the heck are you? Why am I looking at him or anyone else? Because, again, look at the criminal records of some former and maybe even present law enforcement officers in this area. It's really scary.
Individual was wearing in the photo. Did they change the way they dress? Did their behavior change? Did their sleep pattern is different now? Did they start abusing drugs or alcohol whereas they would not have?
Or were they abusing it before and now they're not? Now they're all clean and, presenting themselves on all kinds of rehab channels.
Have they been anxious, nervous, irritable? Have they followed this case and what the media is putting out with a sense that is not normal? Have they had?
Okay, I admit I don't follow a normal sense of this case. I'm all in. All in. With my binoculars. Could somebody buy me binoculars? I don't have any. What?
Ongoing discussions regarding their whereabouts on that afternoon or thereafter. Please, if you have that information, call that into the tip line. After this press conference, the FBI will be putting out a series of these indicators on our social media, so it'll be available not only to the citizens of this community, but across the state of Indiana and then nationally as well. We'll also be utilizing digital billboards, and in any way we can spread this message, we will. I'll just finalize my remarks just to say that to my law enforcement partners behind me, to the community at large, 9 days ago the FBI stood shoulder to shoulder with you. We're not going anywhere. We will be here until this case is solved, and I am confident this case will be solved. Thank you.
That guy in the background there likes to, not that one, this one. He does a lot of whoa, looking up, right? Anyway, carrying on. Let's do some comparison, shall we? Sorry. Dude. What's going on here, dude? We're allowed to cross-examine, just for interest's sake. Reddish brown hair. Okay. Very interesting. Also, why does this picture have no moustache? Let's see this one. That one's got a bit of a goatee. What about this one? Now you're clean shaven, all of a sudden. What the heck? Very interesting.
At this time, I would like to invite Captain Dave Burston, Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police, to the podium.
Thank you, Tony. We do have some new information for you today. It's in the form of an audio file from the cell phone that Liberty German had with her at the time. We're not going to play
New information, and 2 years later they released one more word.
everything that we have, but Liberty had the presence of mind to turn on her video camera. Again, we're not going to be able to share everything with you, but we are going to share this audio clip with you momentarily with the hope that somebody will recognize this voice. And I want to be very clear that what you're about to hear is just 4 short words.
Guys down the hill, okay? What?
Excuse me, 3 words. Down the hill.
There you go. I'm like, wait a minute, but they only released guys down the hill in 2019, so he corrected himself there. So maybe initially they wanted to say guys down the hill, but now they released down the hill. Interesting.
You're going to hear this played 4 times. The audio quality is not superb, but there's enough there that somebody could recognize this person's voice. And as Superintendent Carter said, not to rationalize away. If you hear this today and you think, my God, that sounds like fill in the blank, call us. Make an anonymous tip. Tell us who you think it is. Let us investigate it. If it's not the right person, they'll just be out a little bit of time and they'll be cleared and they can go on and they'll never know that you called.
Well, we hope not.
But you may tell us who the right person was. And you could be the person that helps us to solve this horrible crime. Micah, play the clip, please.
Are we ready, guys? Now you're going to hear the rustling of the leaves, because in this first bit that they released, which you heard actually the second clip in the episode before this, here you can clearly hear leaves and walking. In the second clip, the guys down the hill, it definitely sounds like they've muted something in the background that sounds like, let us go. But let's hear this. Down the hill, down the hill,
Play it
down
one
the
more
hill.
time.
Down the hill, down the hill. That's all he says. My goodness, they played it fast.
So that audio clip later today will be available on the Indiana State Police website. You can simply go to our website and add the extension /Delphi.htm. There will be information on that website that talks about the reward that is being collected now. Sergeant Slocum will talk more about the amount of money that's been raised towards solving this case. And really, money shouldn't be what drives somebody to help solve this.
Unfortunately, it is in many cases, though, which is why we are trying to raise reward money in the Daniel Robinson case. So if you could please buy an item from the merch range, which means you get something cool. Like, I cannot wait to take this on cycles, on walks everywhere with coffee. Like coffee on the go, yes. Okay, so if you buy yourself something like this, which has the boot camp type of grizzly on here, you are donating to the Please Help Find Daniel.com fund, but mostly to raise money, sorry for that noise, so that a reward can be offered, so that people can come forward and say, you know what, for whatever the amount would be, $1,000, $10,000, whatever it could be, I'm going to say something. So unfortunately, it is a motivator, but in the Delphi case, $325,000, that's the reward. That's the last I saw it at. It might be higher now. 5 years, almost 5 years, and it's still unsolved.
Just a sense of community and wanting to help and to get this person off the street. The image that you see there of the suspect, that came from Liberty's phone. I think many of you had speculated that before. We weren't prepared to discuss that at the time. We have more video. We're not releasing it. It's germane to our investigation. And it's important that we spread that person's voice far and wide for somebody that will recognize who that is and will call us and tell us.
Is it just me, or do you also believe that this sketch matches the voice? That the sketch, I just don't think it would be the sketch matching the voice. Do you know what I mean? But let me know what you think. I think about this all the time, and I'm like, initially, so just so you know, this sketch was released in 2019, but this sketch was released in 2017, right here at this conference. And it's like, so you released this, and down the hill. Okay, I think that the down the hill in the audio clip belongs to Bridge Guy, which looks like an older guy, which I think belongs to this guy. But now you're saying in 2019, which we'll get to eventually, this is the guy that committed the murders. Very interesting.
I also want to tell you that there will be a tip line. There's an email tip line. I'll spell it out for you, and it'll be on the website later, but if you want to copy this down, tips can be emailed to ABBYANDLIBBYTIP at CO,
So Abby and Libby tip, yeah?
CACOSHRF.com. So that is Abby and Libby tip at CACOSHRF.com. Phone number, email, call the Delphi Police, call the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, call the state police. Help us to capture the person responsible for these murders.
Okay.
As I started out, we volunteer because we care. I believe that's a way of life here in Carroll County and the Delphi area.
Oh, I'm still looking at this guy right here. You know who I'm looking at. Wait, put the finger up. And let's fly. Boop. Ah, very interesting physiology. Who are you, sir? I mean, between him and this guy, don't they look so much like Bridge Guy's freaking body and physiology? You are interesting.
Area. As Captain Bursta indicated, we now have monies for a reward. I believe we're in upwards to around $41,000, with
And us like 325,000.
$25,000 being donated by the FBI, $10,000 by the Indiana Packers, a local.
The FBI is donating to the fund? Never heard of that. I haven't heard of that. It's probably existed before. It's just that I have not heard of the FBI actually being like, we will give money for this.
Business. The Andersons have donated.
Could somebody please, Grizzlies, I'm challenging you from now on. I give you challenges. Who the heck is this?
Donated $5,000. Indiana Lafayette Savings and Loans has donated $1,000. They do that because they care. We need to solve this case. We have every resource that we can think of to prompt people to give us information.
Yeah, look down again, bro.
Donated $1,000. They do that because they care.
I'm allowed to look, okay? And I'm just looking at this very freaky little, they said right hand in the pocket. So this is left, that is right. Okay, very nice. But like, what? I've never looked at this guy before. It's not someone that I've suspected before, but I'm like, who are you? Just out of interest sake, who the heck are you?
We need to solve this case. We have every resource that we can think of to prompt people to give us information. We need to get the murderer of Liberty German and Abigail Williams into custody sooner rather than later. That will be the end of our press conference. As far as speakers at this time, we will entertain questions.
Question time. Okay, Grizzlies, what would you ask first? Go. I'm giving you some time. What would you ask? Good question. Very nice. Okay. What else?
Is there any specific information that says the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be somebody?
I mean, this guy makes sense. He's not saying what the others were saying from 2019, which we'll get to in in the upcoming episodes. Be sure to check my channel. Make sure you subscribe so that you actually know what the heck is going on this channel. If you like any little tiny bit of this video, subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss out. We do lots of things on this channel. Maybe you'll like some of it. Maybe for you it's a high risk to subscribe and hit the bell. But if whatever pops up as a notification you don't like, just don't watch it. Swipe it. Don't watch it. If you like it though, watch it. Hit the thumbs up. You know what I mean? So I like this guy. He's making a lot of sense. Just like, I don't know, he could be could be living close, could not be. He's more reasonable than some of the more recent press conferences I've seen.
That knew that the girls were going to be there at that time, that's a possibility. Nothing is off the table.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The only thing I would add is where the FBI can come involved, and if it does lead interstate or multi-jurisdictionally, we have that capability to
Which they were worried it might at this point, it seems.
stretch it further outside of this immediate community across the state or across state lines.
Let's go one at a time. I'll let you do your follow-up, then I'll come to you. What's your follow? Go ahead and do your follow-up.
How long after Liberty posted to social media did this crime happen? Did the murders happen immediately after, or was there time for someone to see them on social media and then meet them on that trail?
As a special, we know that there are going to be lots of questions that we specifically cannot answer because there are things that we do not want to tip our hand to the person that's responsible for this. That kind of information we're keeping close to ourselves. Is it reasonable to think that that's an area, one of two things happen. That was a chance encounter. That's possible. Don't think it's likely, but it's possible. Or that person knew that they were going to be there.
He's hypothesizing, as we did with Scotland Yard, Stephen Keogh and Murder Academy. Everything is on the playlist. If you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend you check out the playlist so that you can actually follow the case. Follow this case that I'm covering. This is what I'm deep diving right now. Yes, I'm still touching on something else that I deep dived for a long while, which is the Gabby Petito case. We're still looking at what's coming out. What's in Brian Laundrie's notebook? What's this whole estate thing about? $20,000, huh? All sorts of stuff. But right now I'm looking at this Delphi case. Absolutely. So Petito, Daniel Robinson, Delphi, and a few others. Kylan and Crystal, of course. They allegedly have satellite imagery now that shows a suspect or suspects in the murders of Kylan Schulte and Crystal Beck, but they cannot release those images to the public, which I'm like, why? Why? Is it Brian? Like, why can't you release that to the public? Like pictures of who the suspect might be. I find that very interesting. So I am watching that. I also cover a whole bunch of missing persons cases on this channel. So don't you worry. There's lots of things happening all the time. And of course, if you are a member, thank you so much. Oh my word. I have 2 tiers of membership, $1.99, $4.99, and the $4.99 members get a whole bunch of other videos, vlogmas, walks, cycles, all sorts of stuff, which is a little bit different to the true crime that I do here. But if that's something that might be of interest to you, the link is in the description box below. So, yes. Anyway, the point is, the hypothesizing here is interesting of like, would it be a stranger? Very unlikely. He says it himself. It's very unlikely. Would it be someone that they were meeting up with or that knew they would be there? Yes, and that's very interesting. Would it be someone that worked at the school? Would it be someone obviously that knew that all the students would be off? Would it be someone that one of them connected with, possibly Libby? I don't know. She was much more active on her phone, from what I hear. Would it be her or someone, or her or Abby connecting with someone on social media? A catfish, perhaps? What compelled her to film this man? Was it a stranger following them on their trail? Or was it they were expecting someone really cute and their age to arrive, and then this man arrived? Just don't know.
That's possible as well. Those are things that we're looking into. Question over here.
Online communication with this individual? Is there any evidence of that from the girls with this person?
Similar to what I just said, there's specific pieces of information that we're not discussing. The best example that I can give you is if somebody is a victim of a burglary and then they're murdered, everybody wants to know how they were murdered. If we go into the details and we say they were stabbed twice in the back and they were shot in the head, then everybody hears that. And then we get tips, people tell us that, and the tip is useless. We're keeping information that will only be known by the person or by who that person told. And when that's shared with us, it will set off the alarm bells and we'll know.
I find that very interesting because they said the one puzzle piece that they still need is someone from the Delphi community coming forward to say, oh my word, this is my dad or my uncle or my brother or whoever. So the reason that they're keeping everything so close to the chest, close to the vest, however they say it, is because they know it's a way to filter out that, oh my word, ding, 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 here's the tip. They want to give themselves the best possible shot at red flagging a tip that comes in that's like, oh my word, I can't believe this person called in, they said this and this and this. They are looking for very specific information. Very interesting. Normally they would just say, they were shot, they were stabbed, they were whatever it is. But this time they won't, which I find interesting. They're hoping that someone that the killer knows, that he told, because killers often do brag. That is a fact. It would be very hard for this killer to just keep it zipped into himself. He would have had, it's 5 years later now. He would have told somebody. Now, if he told somebody, and that somebody comes forward and says, you know what, this person told me such and such, very interesting.
Captain, based upon what you have and other investigators have seen of this crime, do you believe this individual has killed before, and what makes you believe he will do it again?
Greg, I'll let Agent Massa address that.
There has been no indication right now that this is a part of a serial murder, if that's what your question is. So as of the facts that we have collected at this point in time, we have not tied it to any other.
And that other double homicide happened before this, right? The Everard case. It was before this, meaning that they aren't connecting these two. So that's interesting too.
Known homicides.
After you play 3 words, you have an extensive volume of video and audio. You're not sharing it, or is it more?
We have other information that we're not sharing, and specific to your question, Raphael, keep in mind that there the likeliness, the possibility of more than one person.
I heard it. Keep in mind the likelihood of more than one person.
We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here.
Huh? Pause, think, reflect. We are not saying that the voice you heard is the same as the person you see here, which I would assume they mean the sketch, or what? Okay, very interesting.
This is all very complicated, very involved, and
All very complicated and very involved. It's a ring. He just made a ring with his hands. Do you see it? Look.
Extensive volume of video and audio. You're not sharing it, or is it more?
we have other information that we're not sharing, and specific to your question, Raphael, Keep in mind that there the likeliness, the possibility of more than one person. We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here.
Very interesting. Because later, Doug Clark says this is not two people, this is one person and all that. So then later they match the voice to this sketch.
This is all very complicated,
Watch the
very
ring.
involved, and as much
All very complicated, very involved. He's making a ring. It's a ring of people.
as we would like to tell you everything, more importantly, we want to solve the crime. That could be or could not be.
For those of you saying, could I turn up the volume for the questions? No, I wish I could turn up the volume too. It's at maximum and boosted. No, this is how press conferences go. The questions are always like, eh? Just look at the answers and be like, what?
The audio is also from Liberty's phone. So again, she had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio. No, I can't.
The audio is also on Liberty's phone. She had the presence of mind to capture video and audio. Okay, but I do not imagine her grabbing her phone and being like, ooh, I'm gonna film this guy. And then switching to voice record. No, it's all one. It's pointing the phone, pressing record, filming for a bit, putting phone in pocket, right? And a video will film, see, they say audio because the phone was put in a pocket, which means now the camera is concealed, which means now they can't see anything, but they can hear everything. But it's all a video recording, in my opinion. What do you think?
That could be or could not be. The audio is also from Liberty's phone. So again, she had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio. No, I can't. That is a loop that we played 4 times for purposes for you to hear it.
Cell phones were found with one cell phone. Did the suspect or suspects leave anything that you can talk about at the scene?
No, there's nothing I can speak to about the scene investigation and collection of evidence. Yes, and thank you for asking that, Paris. To clarify, the image that you're looking at here came from Liberty's phone.
Is it longer? Are you holding some that you can see how he walks? Is there any more of this image of this possible suspect?
There's nothing that we are prepared to release at this time.
Interesting, because they just released a still image of Bridge Guy, not the video at that time. Why? Why? Why is that?
I guess reconciling. This is believed to be the main suspect. The voice is believed to be a suspect. Can you say you believe that's the voice of that man in that photo?
No, I can't say that because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone. Keep in mind, all of you are in the television business. What do you see out of the TV? You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here.
Very interesting. So what is over here and here in your opinion, sir? More people? I found this statement very interesting.
So there's lots more that we're looking at.
Lots more people that you're looking at. I think so. I'm starting to think so. It's not just Keegan Klein. It's not just Bridge Guy. And that's horrendous to think about. That's why our minds can't really go there. But if we were to think, what if you said, guy, down the hill. And she was filming because maybe all of a sudden there was the Bridge Guy, someone in the woods on the left, someone in the woods on the right. And it's like, oh my word, You don't know if she filmed. She could have filmed like this. But they only show us this 3-second clip here. But like she could have filmed all of it. That would make sense to me. He's coming to answer that one.
As I indicated before, the reason we believe this is a suspect is based on the totality of the evidence that we've gathered thus far. That is,
So it's the only DNA evidence you collected, or the only image you have and the only audio you have. I'm starting to think this is a group of people, not even just two. They said multiple, meaning it could be two individuals. Right? Isn't that what he said?
Or by who that person told. And when that's shared with us, it will set off the alarm bells and we'll know. Greg, I'll let Agent Massa address that.
There has been no indication right now that this.
That could be or could not be. The audio is also from Liberty's phone.
I like this guy. He just seems so much more sincere. I don't know. He's just like really just saying it like it is.
So again, she had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio. No, I can't. That is a loop that we played 4 times for purposes for you to hear it.
The cell phones were found with one cell phone. Did the suspect or suspects leave anything that you can talk about at the scene?
No, there's nothing I can speak to about the scene investigation and collection of evidence.
Scene investigation and collection of evidence. He does the circle again with his hands.
Yes, and thank you for asking that, Paris. To clarify, the image that you're looking at here came from Liberty's phone.
Is it longer? Are you holding some that you can see how he walks? Is there any more of this image of this possible suspect?
There's nothing that we are prepared to release at this time.
Can you, I guess, reconcile, this is believed to be the main suspect, the voice is believed to be a suspect. Can you say you believe that's the voice of that man in that photo?
No, I can't say that.
Do you believe that that is the voice of that man on the bridge? No, I can't say that.
Because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone. Keep in mind, all of you are in the television business. What do you see out of the TV? You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here. So there's lots more that we're looking at.
That is very scary what he's saying here. Yeah, how do you determine that he was the main suspect?
as I indicated before, the reason we believe this is a suspect is based on the totality of the evidence that we've gathered thus far. That has led us to believe this is the person that at least participated in the murders of Liberty German and Abigail.
Participated. Same as the words we studied in the previous episode. Was involved in.
Williams.
The picture that you guys have, as we mentioned before, it seems like it's enhanced, and we talked about that a little bit yesterday. How enhanced is this picture? Did it come from a Snapchat photo that she had saved? Was he in the background corner? And how far away was he from the picture that she might have just snapped on that bridge?
Now, we're not going to release that part of the information, but it did come from her phone, which entails that even though we enhanced it, it's the best we have. That's the image we're giving. And just because you and I do not recognize that photo, there, as indicated earlier, a person that works with what appears to be a male white in that photo might recognize him. Again, a family member might recognize that. Unfortunately, it's the best we have, and that's what we're going to go with at this time. If we decide to go other routes later, we'll let you know.
Just to clarify one point here, do you believe that based on the evidence you guys have, that Libby turned her cell phone on and started recording specifically because this person seemed suspicious or was creeping her out in some way? And if so, what's your...
Great question. Like, did Libby turn on her phone, like, to film this guy because she felt suspicious of this one guy?
This young lady's a hero. There's no doubt. to have enough presence of mind to activate the video system on her cell phone to record what we believe is criminal behavior that is about to occur. As far as the first part of your question, that's something we're going to keep close to the vest as part of our investigation. But there's no doubt in our minds that that young lady is a hero.
Along those lines, I know you guys have people on this in opposed to you, but there's a lot of experience up here. Have you guys ever seen anything like some of the details we're seeing with this case? Is this something that you guys can parallel with in other areas?
Well, unfortunately, when you're in the law enforcement business, there are crimes that occur in this nature. As far as the time frame and different things, in my experience, are unique to my career, but there are a lot of smart people standing behind me that will probably have a different answer. But again, rest assured, we're using our resources to put the person and or persons that murdered Liberty German and Abigail Williams into our jail here in Carroll County.
The only thing that I want to add to that is all of you have more questions than we can answer here today without compromising the case. I think we all can agree there's one thing we want to do. We want to capture the person or persons responsible for this crime. We wanted to get the audio clip out to you. We wanted to confirm to you where that image came from. We've accomplished those two things here today. We encourage you to play that audio to your audiences frequently over the days to come.
Shame, over the days to come, and here we are, almost 5 years later. No one arrested.
So that we can develop a tip to that tip line or to the email address that I gave you or to the website information that will be on the State Police website at 10:45. At this time, we're going to conclude the news conference. Thank you all very much for coming here today and to helping to spread the word. Thank you.
I just want to see that guy walk. Very interesting. My goodness. We need justice for Abby and Libby. So that was the next press conference. There's still a few to go. There's at least 2 to go. So I want to now quickly show you some articles. I know it's been a while, but here we go. Okay. So let's make this nice and clean. So that we can focus. Witnesses aided in sketch of suspect in Indiana teen's death. Maybe I should make it bigger for you guys. Indiana State Police Sergeant Kim Riley discusses the sketch released Monday of a man believed to be connected to the murder of Liberty German and Abigail Williams in February in Delphi, Indiana. The bodies of German, 14, and Williams, 13, were found a day after they were hiking near Monon High Bridge east of Delphi, connected to. To me, it's becoming more and more obvious that there's more than one person involved. Delphi, Indiana. A sketch authorities released Monday of a man considered the main suspect in the February killings of 2 northern Indiana girls was drawn in part from descriptions provided by someone who saw the suspect around the time the girls were slain, a sheriff said. Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lesenby said the witness saw the man walking near Delphi, about 60 miles northwest of Indianapolis, but only recently met with an FBI sketch artist to provide facial details for the rendering released by state police. Lesenby said he cannot discuss where the witness saw the unidentified man, who authorities consider the main suspect in the slayings of 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams. He said the witness saw the man around the time the girls were killed. Okay. The teens vanished February 13th while hiking along a trail near Delphi, their hometown. Their bodies were found the next day in nearby woods. Authorities have not disclosed how the girls were killed. The composite sketch depicts a white man with a prominent nose and a goatee. See? So well done to those of you in the previous live stream, or not live stream, the previous premiere who saw the goatee, who's wearing a cap and what appears to be a hooded sweater. Police said the suspect has reddish-brown hair, stands between 5'6" and 5'10", and weighs between 180 and 220 pounds. Police asked the public to examine the image, particularly the man's facial features, and contact them with any information that might help them identify him. Here is another one. They say, first sketch released in Indiana murders of 2 girls is not a person of interest, police say. So this was later. Okay, this was in April 2019. Delphi, Indiana. Indiana State Police say the new sketch of a suspect wanted in the murders of 2 girls is their current person of interest. And the first sketch, released 2 years ago, is not a person of interest at this time. So not even just say it's one of. No, it's just not a person of interest at this time. Investigators released the clarification on Wednesday, saying the new sketch, which was created by a different eyewitness account, is now the person they want. It was initially believed the sketch that has been in public view over the last 2 years of a person in the age range of his 40s to 50s was a person of interest in the murder investigation. Now, as the investigation has matured and past information has been reassessed, it is the belief of the investigators with a multi-agency task force that the person depicted in the sketch released on April 22nd more accurately represents the person wanted for the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. This is the new sketch. Then they said, they are not the same person. The person depicted in the originally released sketch is not presently a person of interest in this investigation. Hold on, let's put that up there. That's the disclaimer. Hold on. It's not that one. Where's that other picture? I think it's this one. Wait. I just want to show you again side by side, right? Very interesting. So let's put them side by side, even though the one now above me was drawn later. This one was released first, but sketched later. And the one on the right-hand side is the one that they say now, even now, in 2021, this is the suspect, not this one, the other one. That one. And, yes, that was drawn 3 days after the murder. How weird is that? The sketch released on April 22nd is representative of the face of the person captured in the video on Liberty German's cell phone as he was walking on the high bridge. Okay, I just want to check this date here, because this is April 24th. I don't know if this young person is walking across High Bridge. I don't know about that, but anyway. The person in the sketch released, yes, okay. This person's appearance could look different today if he has grown a mustache, beard, or let his hair grow longer, or cut his hair shorter than depicted in the sketch. Members of the Delphi community should reflect back on people they know in the community that look similar to the sketch released on April 22nd, especially if that person has changed their appearance since the murders occurred in February of 2017. I mean, it's 2 different people. I wouldn't even say, they say this is a red herring. I'm saying based on everything that they just said in that press conference, really they're looking at multiple people. Everything he said was like, what? And then we have this one. New Delphi suspect sketch was drawn days after the murders of two Indiana artists, girl says. It's late for me. Okay, hold on. For me, it's 5:39 a.m. I've been up all night making these videos. So, new Delphi suspect sketch was drawn days after the murders of two Indiana girls, the artist says. A sketch police believe may depict the face of the killer behind the 2017 slayings of two girls in Indiana, and that was released to the public on Monday, was actually drawn 2 years ago. Like, can you believe that? 2 years ago, just days after the victims' bodies were discovered. Indiana State Police said at a news conference the sketch shows the unidentified man suspected of murdering Libby German, 14, and Abby Williams, 13. Officials said the man is likely between the ages of 18 and 40, but may appear younger. He is also believed to have lived, worked, or regularly visited Delphi, which is located about 60 miles northwest of Indianapolis. The sketch artist with ISP who drew the face, Master Trooper Taylor Bryant, told the Indianapolis Star the picture presented as being new on Monday had in fact been drawn in February 17, 2017. Look at the date. They were found on the 14th, 3 days later. This picture that they now believe is the murderer was released in 2019. Oh, my word. In vague terms, Bryant told the Star the image was based on the description of a man by a witness who reported seeing something they felt needed to be reported. Like, what did you see? The description of a man by a witness who reported, I'm allowed to yawn, seeing something they felt needed to be reported. I'm pulling a lot of all-nighters lately because I'm just like, this case. The sketch is a ballpark estimation of what the person looks like. So it might be completely inaccurate, but that's all we have to go on right now. Ballpark estimation. Bryant, who did not draw an earlier, widely disseminated sketch released by police that showed a much older looking person of interest, told the Star he creates his drawings based off of how a witness describes a suspect using a facial identification reference sheet, which allows people to describe a suspect based on various categories such as a person's head shape, style of eyebrows, or type of nose. The witness is the main focus, he told the paper, so there's no input from law enforcement at all in the generating of a sketch, other than my presence as the artist. Now, let's just take a quick commercial break. Just a quick one. If you like my content and would like to say thank you, the easiest way to do that is, of course, to buy a copy of any one of my books, or to buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/Gisela K, which I'll link below for you. Thank you so much for listening. And we're back. Asked why a sketch created in 2017 was only now being released as the centerpiece of a press conference, a state police spokesperson told Fox News on Tuesday the agency is not commenting on investigative techniques. Okay, but on Monday, officials said the new image came about after some bit of new information that had been continuously reviewed and examined. Authorities said the image more accurately depicted the face of the suspect from video recorded on German's cell phone while she and Abigail were on the high bridge. It's very hard to believe that this bridge guy is the young guy. It's very hard to believe, but that's what they're saying. The new brief video released by authorities shows a man walking on the high bridge. Remember, they only released a still image before. Walking on the high bridge in the hopes that someone could identify the individual based on the mannerisms as he walks. In the course of the investigation into the murders, authorities had previously released a pixelated image of the same man from that video walking on the bridge around the time of the girl's disappearance. Besides the video and the new image, ISP Superintendent Doug Carter revealed that investigators were looking for the owner of a vehicle abandoned. So it wasn't abandoned. The vehicle wasn't abandoned, but a vehicle parked on the east side. This was later. That's how I know. Okay. It was an abandoned building, not an abandoned car. But a car was parked at an abandoned CPS building on the east side of County Road 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. on February 14th, 2017. The day the girls' bodies were discovered. The vehicle was parked, yes, at the old CPS DCS welfare building. But the car was parked on February 14th between 12 and 5. That's not even the day they were murdered. That's the day they were found, which I find interesting that they're even bringing up this car to say who was parked there the next day. Why? Do you want to know that? That just makes me think of this ring that that cop did with his hand. Like this, it's a whole complex thing. Like, is it? How many people are we talking about? The teens were reported missing on February 13, 2017, after they were dropped off at the Delphi Historic Trails in the early afternoon to go for a walk. Their bodies were discovered the next day by a volunteer about a half mile off the trail. Now, who is that volunteer? I believe it was a reporter. Anyway, that's just from what I've read speculatively. Despite autopsies being conducted, no cause of death has ever been revealed for either of the girls. Police have tens of thousands of tips in the investigation into Williams and German's deaths, but have not made any arrests. We believe you are hiding in plain sight, an emotional Carter said, addressing the killer directly during the news conference. For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift to a different investigative strategy, but we have. Okay. A retired homicide investigator with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department told Fox 59 sketches in any crime can be tricky because they aren't exact photographs but can still prove valuable for generating tips. Sketches are worthwhile, but you never want to take it at 100% value and think they have to look exactly like the sketch because they won't. Retired homicide captain Robert Snow told the television station. I have never seen sketches that look exactly like a person. Again, it's not like a photo, but it can give you some suspects sometimes. At some point, I almost wonder if it wouldn't be better to not share any sketches. What do you think? The reason I say that is because then it puts an image in your mind of how you think the killer should or could look. What if they just said, we're looking for someone who is between the age of this and this, who is frequenting the area, and he walks like the, you know what I mean? Like a verbal description. I don't know. Sketches, if they could be so far off, maybe don't do them. You know what I mean? Interesting. Well, I'll just put myself here. My goodness. Please let me know what you think. What did you think of that press conference? Any thoughts? Anything that popped out to you? Let me know. Let me also move this Grizzly up here. Thank you so much for watching this premiere. If you became a member, then welcome to the membership. There are 2 tiers, $1.99 and $4.99, with different perks. If you are interested in reading some of my scripts and hearing my podcast, those perks are available separately on Patreon. All the links are in the description box below. I've got Patreon, I've got Buy Me a Coffee. The most direct way to support me is on PayPal though, because there's no middleman, there's no cut. YouTube takes 30%, Patreon takes 10 to 12%. You know, that kind of thing. So PayPal is the most direct way to support me. But thank you so much just for watching this video. Just by watching, you are supporting me. So thank you so much for watching. And if you are not yet subscribed and you are watching this whole video, my goodness, become part of us. The Grizzlies are awesome. All you got to do is click subscribe, hit the bell, so you don't miss out on anything. If you don't know what the bell is, you know where it is. Subscribe, and then on the right-hand side of it, hit the bell and turn it on to all notifications. I can see how many of you turn that little bell on and who don't. My analytics tell me, so please do hit the bell. It would be great that I know that you know when the next upload is. I'm like, wait, that I know, that you know, that I know, that we know, that all of us Grizzlies know. When is the next Grizzly True Crime update? If you have the bell on, you'll see. Even if there's like a surprise live stream or a community post or a new members video or something, you'll get the notification. So, my goodness, I think it's time for a little nap for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you also for encouraging me, for always, I don't know, thanking me and stuff. You guys are awesome. You're always like, oh my word, gee, you work so hard. I do work hard. I really love what I do. I've always worked hard and I love what I do here. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's buying my books as well, grizzly-books.com. My goodness, I wrote 4 true crime books. And then what I did was, instead of just continuing to write more books, I started sharing my true crime stuff in video format. So, hi YouTube. I started this channel in June of 2021. My goal was to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. And if we look at where we are now, my goodness, Grizzlies, we're at 35,488. My word. I was looking for, let's try to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Wow. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I'm very excited for the next video. I'm covering all the press conferences in this case. Okay. So if you want to deep dive this case with me, welcome aboard. Please check out the playlist. I will link it above. I'll I'll link it here and here, above and below. Okay. You can find it all over the place. And I will see you again in the next one. Mostly, if you see something, please say something. Be mindful of those red flags. If you feel like, oh my word, red flag, be mindful. Listen to your gut instincts. Stay safe, okay? And in Abby and Libby's case, if you know anything, please come forward. Give that tip in. They need it. Share this episode so that other people could be inspired to share what they know. Share it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you want to, TikTok even. And then I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. One more thing, remember to hit the thumbs up on the way out, okay? It really helps a content creator, but mostly it really helps Abby and Libby, because you will give the thumbs up, okay, to say that you like the way that I present true crime. You like the way that I am presenting the Delphi case. So thumbs up for that if you like that. And then what happens is the algorithm says, okay, people like this. Interesting. Let's show this to more people. That's what the bot does, right? The algorithm. Let's show this to more people. Yes, that's what we want. Why do we want that? We don't want it for fame and fortune. We want it so that Abby and Libby can have justice, so their case can actually be solved. Can you imagine, just for 1 second, put yourself in their shoes? Any one of their shoes. Can you imagine feeling the red flag and the danger, whipping out your phone to film it, which is a very smart thing to do. Film it just in case, but then actually be murdered? And then after doing all that, 5 years later, your case is still not solved? That's scary. So we have to do everything we can to share as much information about this case as possible. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.